The greatest pleasure I've had is trying to do something that everybody says could not be done. I decided that India could produce its own car. Everybody, my friends overseas in the automobile business, said that this couldn't be done. We had to go through a collaboration to get know-how, get technology. But we undertook to produce this car. You saw images of it in the video. It was called the Indica, and we produced it in India, totally of Indian content. As we got close to putting it in the market, my friends in India somewhat distanced themselves from me, otherwise known as distancing yourself from failure. And when the car came out, I suddenly felt that I didn't have a friend in the world, and that all the warnings that people had given me were probably going to come true. But the car did come out. It did earn a 20% market share, and we showed that we could do something.
And again, metaphorically, you always are told that you are having to fit yourself in your predecessor's shoes. So I decided to embark on a path of just being myself. I think convincing myself that it would work is a judgment call in terms of the faith you put in your people to do this. And case in point was on the Indica. Conventional wisdom said that you couldn't enter the car business without having a collaboration, and certainly to think of designing a car domestically and producing it was an unheard of thing. My friends, as we launched the car, started to distance themselves from me. And it wasn't for me, it was to distance themselves from failure. And it was the trust one had in the young team to put this together that drove it. From time to time, I think change has caused a lot of people in the company to question the wisdom that such a change would be based on. And I've been lucky, and in some cases it's been difficult, but by and large, India is a country that has such a great potential that change is by and large well received. The worst thing that can happen is to determine where the company is going through the eyes or the mouth of one person, i.e. the CEO. Far more is gained by walking on the shop floor and talking to the people and trying to communicate. One of my weaknesses has been, I think, I've never communicated enough or adequately with our people, partly because I'm a shy person, and secondly, because I didn't realize the importance of communication. But I think communication with the employees is an exceedingly important function that any company chairman has to do and be visible in that sense. For companies, therefore, I think there has to be a sensitivity to doing something in the communities around which you operate, and making an effort to raise the quality of life so that there's not envy and distaste for what was there, but the company's looked at in a more positive sense and in enhancing the quality of life of the people around them. I think if I said I would like to be seen as being someone who could continue to try to make a difference, I think that would be a very satisfying thing for me to achieve. I think large business has to have an element of orienting themselves to to serve a social need also, in addition to just serving a business need. And in our case, I think we may be driven by a business motivation, but we should always be conscious of areas that we feel are not in the public interest. We withdrew from activities in the liquor business because we felt that this was an area that tended to be serving a consumer base that perhaps we didn't want to be in.